And we're live. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your patience while we did some fancy tech things. happy Wednesday. I'm so happy to be here with my dear friend and mentor, Dr. Lorin Roche. Good morning, Lorin. Thank you for I
Good
know you
morning.
talked for a while,
Let's
thank you for being with
let's
us.
see. Let's see if my iPad likes being vertical or horizontal. I wonder if it makes any difference. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's roll.
All right.
What is happening?
Well, let's talk about love.
Well,
It's it's
is
love day.
love is one of the fundamental forces of creation.
Lead us in. Tell us all about love.
Well, we live in such an amazing time. Here are the physicists that can do things like crack the atom and make explosions, power entire cities with nuclear reactors or with fuel that was laid down a billion years ago in the ocean. That's what cars run on, and electric power plants often run on. Um, the internet, satellites in space, people going to the moon and back. The scientists and engineers have done all that, and we live in this world. And they're saying that we only know about 5% of what matter is and energy, that 95% of the universe, especially what holds it all together, is completely unknown. 95%. So these are the people that can do all these extraordinary things, can write equations that land something on Mars and and explore around.
Mhm.
And so that's something that's holding the universe together. We could call it love. And we could think of gravity as a kind of love. Like we're all on this planet, and we could think of just the fact that this body, your body, my body, our bodies are attracted to the earth. We could call this love, a gravitational embrace.
I love that. The gravitational embrace. It reminds me of there was that scene in Interstellar. You've probably seen Interstellar several times,
That
right?
the other day.
It's one of my favorites. I'm sure many here with us this morning enjoy that. And there was that scene where they linked up in the ship. I think the quote was like, "Love is a force like gravity." Really linked that together, where the one astronaut wanted to go back for her lover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They set a screenwriter. They inserted that scene.
Yeah.
There they are in spacesuits and ships, and there's a black hole, and she's talking about love. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're actually playing at all times with mighty forces.
Mm. Mm.
Each beat of our heart is a teeny electrical signal, a pulsation
Mm.
of electricity and juice. And similarly, the breath is a pulsation. Breathing is a pulsation
Mm.
of electricity that stimulates the muscles, activates the muscles. And breathing is a flow of the divine.
Mm.
The sun is shining on the earth continually. the earth rotates. So half the earth is always in sunshine.
Mm.
And the earth is mostly ocean. What is it? 2/3 ocean. And the ocean, every drop of the ocean has trillions of tiny creatures in it that absorb sunlight,
Mm.
and they break carbon dioxide, carbon and two oxygens, into carbon and oxygen. And so the air we're breathing is continually being refreshed
Mm.
by this energy from the sun that's coming down and entering the bodies of these little teeny plants. And the same is true of all the green growing things on earth, all the plants and algae. So, in a sense, with every breath, we're breathing in the love that the sun and the ocean and the earth have for embodied life.
Mm.
The sun and the ocean and the earth are continually giving of their body to
Mm.
feed us. And breath is our primary food.
Mm.
And so, in the gravitational embrace of the earth, which we can accept as a form of love, in this embrace, we're pulsating. Some of the electricity of the sun
Mm.
goes to the heart, and it electrifies, it pulses with electricity and beats and sends blood through thousands and trillions of
Mm.
little vessels, 100,000 miles of blood vessels. And the blood is similar to the ocean from 100 million, couple 100 million years ago.
Mm.
The ocean, the current ocean, is saltier than our blood, as I recall. And so we're pulsing and streaming. And the elements are all nourishing, embracing, healing, repairing, energizing us in all directions. So we live in an ecstatic dance, a love dance of galactic elements. The the elements that our bodies are made out of come from cosmic fire. They were born in ecstatic explosions that we could even consider to be orgasms.
Mhm.
In the meditation traditions, the the creation is an act of ecstasy,
Mm.
of the divine, giving birth to forms.
Mm.
I'm going to cough, so I'll mute my mic. Yeah. So there's a kind of a terrifying quality to all this.
Yeah.
Because of the vastness. Like
Mm.
we'll wake up in the morning or it'll be mid-morning or noon. We're getting kind of grumpy and go, I'm, I'm alone here on earth. God has abandoned me. What's with this? I can never do my to-do list. And this thing over here is bothering me. And we'll get grumpy and just think, we'll read. We'll get sucked into reading what the internet thinks we should be afraid of. So we'll fall under the spell of news feeds that are just desperately trying to keep us addicted to video and audio and info that's essentially all propaganda of some kind, designed to manipulate. And so we'll walk around grumpy and polluted. And we forget. And what remembering, oh yeah, like I'm a free soul in the universe. Remembering is both ecstatic and terrifying. There's often strange sensations, like if you've ever sat on your feet until the circulation gets cut off, and then you straighten your legs out, there's that weird tingling, like pins and needles. When parts of our body, our chakras, have gone to sleep, like the circulation has been cut off, and then we restore circulation, it doesn't necessarily feel ecstatic right away. It's just like as circulation is restored to any part of us, our intuition, our heart, our love nature, our gut instincts, our sexuality, when we allow the flow of the life force, the flow of love, to enter and flow through us freely, we might go through a world of sensations. And this is why movies are really good for meditators. Because basically all movies are about how hard it is and scary to get anywhere. Just watch any movie that you love, that you get immersed in. And the plot is always the same, is that there's something interfering with having a good day. Like all of a sudden, the person's having a really bad day. And they have to figure, what the hell? And then they usually said, I can't do anything about it. It's like whatever. And then finally they have to, okay, what? And then they encounter enemies and allies, and they have to basically search their soul, reach deep inside to find the strength and the intelligence to cope with whatever it is. I'm gonna close Chrome over here from when I was going to, okay. And every desire is like that. There's, whenever we set out to do anything, find a mate, find the dog, where do the dogs go? If the dogs are acting weird, like my dog is sick of the dog food, how do I find the right dog food? Or if we want to go away on a vacation, how do I find a dog sitter? And the dance of life is desire and obstacle. And it's always calling for everything we have, every relationship, at work, at home, with friends. It calls for us to summon all the love that we have and all the forms of love. And here's one of the most amazing things about the dance of life. As humans, we exist simultaneously in like a dozen worlds, and each calls for its own form of love, which is as precise as playing a musical instrument, where you lay down a beat or you drum. It's as precise to the split second as music. So there's say we meet someone and we feel like, wow, this person could be a friend.
Mm.
And like exactly how to shake hands to the split second. We time these things to the split second when we look in the other person's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a split second that's loud, and more than that, like what? And then like the invitation, I like to get to know you better. With a dear friend, we might like touch and then embrace and then let go. And the seconds that we hold that embrace, there's an exact timing to it.
Mm.
If we start to let go and they hold on, we might know, oh, they're like they're about to cry, or they need something
Mm.
come up. So there's a precision of appropriateness to each relationship, like with kids, with animals.
Mm.
If you have a horse or a bird, when you approach them, they're very aware of you
Mm-hmm.
from far away. And every animal has an exact spatial boundary around it.
Mm-hmm.
Wild animals will let you get to a certain distance.
Mm-hmm.
You get, and you can feel almost like an electric fence, like
Yeah.
zzz, that you've touched one of their boundaries, and
Mm-hmm.
they'll move away. Like on the beach, there's birds that are wandering around the beach feeding, and they'll let you get an exact distance,
Mm-hmm.
like 30 feet. And if you get to that, they'll just move away. They always maintain this exact distance.
Mm-hmm.
And every animal has its exact distance. Well, in any love relationship, we're playing with distance, and it's really fun. And there's an exactness, like music,
Mm-hmm.
we're playing. And touching another person is symphonic,
Mm-hmm.
a beautiful touch. And one of the cool things about the modern world is its alertness to touch and boundary invasions. So, on the one hand, there's the rules bordering on panic about touch. So, like, there's an awareness that it's not appropriate to pat women on the butt. Like, I think, aren't Italians famous for always, like, it'd be stereotypically speaking,
Mm-hmm.
just in the joke world and in whatever that is, in movies from the 50s, Italian men would just feel entitled to pat any woman on the butt. So we now know that this is inappropriate, and it feels to a woman like an invasion. And at the same time, now in the modern world, most of us are probably touch deprived because of the pandemic and so much isolation. And in the United States, there's more people living alone than probably has ever happened in history. Just enormous numbers of people are living alone. And so we need to keep track of being touch deprived
Mm-hmm.
and figure out how to introduce global touch into our meditation practice
Mm-hmm.
so that we feel as if we've just had a massage, so that our nervous system is being nourished by touch.
Mm-hmm.
So, because we need to bring our own skill set to any relationship that we're in. Like, if we don't keep nourished and touched and loved, aware of love, we'll be off balance as we move through our world.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be too desperate to be touched, and this will affect our health. And so we might be too walled off,
Mhm.
or if we do find somebody that we want to enter into a deep relationship with, we're we won't be ready. We'll be too desperate.
Mm.
So um, there's a lot we can do in meditation to welcome the flow of love, to welcome breath as love and gravity as love. And actually, in if we take the idea of doing asana and then pranayama and then meditation, it's actually a fantastic practice. In half an hour, you can tune yourself up for love and play and sleep and work. It's just slight modifications from what a classical meditation yoga practice is. And in translating the Sanskrit and the techniques from the religious orientation to the modern world, the the idea that prana shakti, that the life force is a current of the genius of love that's been left out. In a
Mm.
sense, all you have to do is add that.
Mm.
It's an awakening. Go ahead, Danielle, ask me anything.
Well, I think I'd love to ask you to share a little bit about some of you may have remembered Lorin from some previous interviews. Some of you may be meeting Lorin this morning for the first time. Lorin has been on the adventure of loving and cherishing and delighting in the joy of meditation for over 50 years and has been teaching, helping students here in the West typically to become free of a lot of the meditation myths that sound like I can't meditate because my mind is a monkey mind, or my mind is too, I can't focus, I can't stop my thoughts, I'm terrible at meditating. And there's a lot of stress for people around meditation. So Lorin and Camille, both together, have been teaching and helping people become free to enjoy meditation and to help individuals discover the style of meditation that is really nourishing and um, deeply fulfilling. So I'd love it if you could share a little bit, since we're talking about love. There's a love story here in the Radiant Sutras. The Radiant Sutras is one of Lorin and Camille's um, most brilliant bodies of work, and you can see it's a very loved book in my world. You can work with this book in so many ways. Some days you can work with it like it's an oracle deck. It starts out as a love story essentially. And so Lorin, I'd love if you could tell us a little bit about the very start of the Radiant Sutras, about the our two characters and what's happening that births the rest of this story, if you
Yeah,
will.
well, in tantric tradition and tantric texts, they love to have the goddess, who is the creative power of the whole universe, and consciousness, or Shiva. They love to have them in conversation.
Mhm.
And in this text, the there's all these jokes where the goddess is pestering Shiva with all these questions. What about this? What about that? And in statues and stories, there's these famous stories where the goddess asked Shiva, and they're pictured as lovers, a bunch of questions, and then when he starts talking, she immediately falls asleep in his lap. And that is so funny. And it's really hilarious to think that thousands of years ago, they got that when your mate starts mansplaining anything, just immediately you doze off. And simultaneously, it's Shavasana or Lyasana, because there's nothing more fun than to have someone you love tell you a story and you drift off. You drift off to sleep while they're telling you a story. It's adorable. And so the text in the Sanskrit has all these allusions and puns to the legends, the backstory. So the goddess is saying, is inhabiting the space of wonder, saying, beloved, like, what is this universe? What's all these beings of on all these levels of creation and all these energies flowing? What is up? And how do I be centered? How to be centered in the midst of this bewildering infinity of mantras and forms and teachings? And so she's taking the role of a human being. She's embodying being a person so that she can receive the teaching and transmit it to us. And then Shiva, who in this text is called Bhairava, starts answering, and he says, it's all right here in the flow and the rhythm of each breath. It's here in the subtle energies flowing up and down your spine. It's here in your senses. It's right here in wherever your mind goes when it wanders. The answer to how to be in communion with your own soul it's here, and whenever you fall in love with a piece of music and that you want to dissolve, it's here in the movement of dancing. It's here in love making, and even remembering an embrace, remembering the last time you had great sex or a great hug or a great kiss. It's right here when you're wandering in nature. So in this informal way, Shiva goes through 112 meditation practices and essentially briefly summarizes the entire universe of meditation. Buddha famously gave 84,000 different meditation practices for all the different kinds of people that there are. They're called Dharma doors. And the Buddhists love this text as well as tantrics and Hindus because it's a handy manual of just 112, and then you can take each of those and make variations. And I met this text in 1968 when I was a teenager, when I was working in a physiology lab at the University of California that was doing research on meditation. And I just fell in love. And so the last 55 years, it's just been a love affair. I mean, someone read an early English translation of the text to me, and it just electrified me. It was like the greatest light bulb, just hearing it.
Lorin,
And
will you share one with us today?
sure. One of them. How much time do I have?
As much time as you feel like hanging out.
Okay. Well, Sutra 16, which is, it comes to us in Sanskrit. So it begins with this word pranava, which is a nickname of Om. And pranava is used interchangeably with Om, which is the vibration of the universe. And it has its range of meanings. A lot of Sanskrit words will have 20 meanings. all related, and they speak to different levels. So pranava, it refers to Om, the hum of creation, as something that's always rising fresh in every moment, and that has the characteristic of joy. That it's an exuberant symphony permeating the whole universe, which is the ground state, the nature of space-time itself is rising like a shout of joy at the marvel of creation. Like, it's as if the space-time, we could think of it as midnight blue, pitch black. That's a texture. That it's astounded at the birth of these trillions of galaxies and suns and planets. And it's just going, as if infinite consciousness is at a concert, beholding the light show and going, oh, wow, oh, how beautiful. The pranava has that resonance. So the text of the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra comes to us in 162 sentences, and they chant them in about 13 seconds. So I'll take 20 seconds or so to chant it. It's pranava adi samudra plutante shunya bhavana shunyaya parya shakya shunyatam etibai ravi. The roar of joy that set the worlds in motion is reverberating in your body, beloved. It's reverberating in your body right now. Listen. Listen. Listen and find that exuberant vibration rising new in each moment and resounding in your channels of delight. Know that you are flooded by it always. Know that you are actually flooded by it always. Listen. Float with the sound. Melt with it into divine silence. The sacred power of space itself will carry you into dancing, radiant emptiness that is the source of all. This ocean of sound is calling you into its spacious embrace, calling you home, calling you home, calling you home. Pranava Adi Samudra Plutante. Shunya.
Thank you, Lorin.
Thank you, Danielle.
Oh, what a treat. Thank you. Thank you. And the Radiant Sutras, it is such a profound journey working with this incredible text. And Lorin, can you share a little bit with about the birthing of this? This really was a love project. I love you and Camille together were really entrusted to bring this contemporary experience into the world together, and it's such a beautiful the journey of the genesis of this through you together. It was just so beautiful. Could you share a little bit about
Yeah.
that?
Well, like I said, I met this text when I was working at this physiology lab, and some of the researchers were delighted with it. And then the instant that I heard about it, I jumped in my little Volkswagen Bug and drove over and bought the book, and then it became like a manual of meditation, all 112 of these doorways. Like what I was just reciting was just one of the 112 techniques. There's also dancing and lovemaking and feasting, eating food and wandering in nature, working with the emotions.
And the whole range of emotions is in
the
here.
whole range of emotions.
There's the sutra with the sting of the wasp, the rip of the
Yeah.
nail, it's really there's
betrayal. It goes into betrayal,
yeah,
rage, lust, being totally head over heels in love. It goes into sneezing, being afraid, running in panic, being at parties. So I was in a research program, and so I started interviewing meditators about their experiences. So here I was, a teenager, and I'm going around Orange County, California, like around near University of California at Irvine, and up to Los Angeles, just interviewing any meditators that were willing to talk to me about their experiences in meditation. And like I would write on 3x5 cards, and just all the different things that people experience. And I would ask for who's thriving in meditation, who's really having a good time. And one person would refer me to another. So I wound up spending the late 60s and throughout the 70s and the 80s just interviewing meditators and making like an atlas of meditative experience. And the way we would flow would be we would meditate a bit, and the person would speak from inside their meditation. And when people are talking from the body, just from their vibrant experience, there's the way that it sounds like natural improvisational poetry. There's a beauty to it that's enchanting. And simultaneously, I was being trained as a meditation teacher and learning a lot of Sanskrit and learning how to teach. There's principles of teaching that are different than meditating yourself. It's how to structure experience so that other people can learn at their own pace. So I was learning, and over time I realized that Sanskrit is a song of experience. Like a Sanskrit word might have like 20 definitions, and a lot of them, they refer to craft skills, legends, and bodily experiences. And I realized that Sanskrit is a guide to embodied experience.
Mm.
So what I did in the Radiant Sutras, after I finished my PhD at the university in 1987, so after spending like 20 years just researching meditation physiologically and the subjective experience, I felt called to do a fresh version of the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. So I don't call it a translation, rather a version, because I'm I'm taking the embodiment clues that are there in the Sanskrit and using that to illustrate the way people talk when they're having experiences of enlightenment, and to bring out the juiciness and the liveliness of the Sanskrit. I've spent 55 years just delighting in the rock and roll of Sanskrit, like at 4 a.m. And the language is so juicy and passionate and peaceful. So letting that aspect of the Sanskrit come out to play. And Camille has danced every word. Like typically, let's call them translation just for a second. In the morning, I might produce, by 9 a.m, from 4 a.m. till 9, I might produce 10 or 20 different ways of articulating this 13 seconds of Sanskrit chanting. There might be 20 or 30 pages, and a lot of them are boring. It's easy to translate Sanskrit in a way that's distancing and boring and formal and jargon filled and impenetrable, and gives a feeling of like this is something arid and for academics. It's really easy to translate Sanskrit that way. So I'll have these all over the floor, and Camille will come out and like take a red pen and say, well, that phrase works, and then that works, and I'm like, that works. And I'll put them together in something that she can dance to, something that you could read it and feel the electricity that's there in the original Sanskrit. And so I just felt called to do this. It was just a love affair. I had no idea where it was going. And so I started in 1987, just doing version after version, and all these magical things. I
just love that. That's no small thing. If it couldn't pass it can dance Camille, it can dance through Camille, then it got tossed.
That's yeah. And there's I used to have there would be like a whole wall like that of paper, just of banker's boxes of different versions of the text over 30 years. And they're similar on my computer in files, Word documents going back. But and then Camille's dancer friends started using the text as part of subtle dance meditation workshops. And then people would do a poetry slam with them and read. And it's electrifying to hear someone who feels attracted to a particular sutra to stand up and read it. And sometimes there'd be musicians and people who've never spoken in public before often will give these electrifying readings because the sutra matches what they're experiencing, and all of our hair stands on end. So this is what a tantric text is to be performed both inwardly and outwardly. That's what they're for. So this is a performance oriented version of the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, one that it's in current lively language that I learned from over half a century just listening to meditators talk
Mm.
from inside of their everyday enlightenment, because everybody experiences moments of enlightenment, like holding a baby or taking a sip of an incredible wine or
Mm.
being at a wedding
Mm.
or sometimes walking the dogs and looking out at nature and saying, oh my God, or looking at the stars at night, or after dancing, in midst of dancing, feeling like, oh my, it's really, my body is made out of ecstasy, or being in love, or being in a conversation, or tasting something wonderful. Everyone has these experiences of enlightenment, of contact with the essence of life, and then sharing it, speaking it.
Would you be willing to share with us Sutra 86? It's always been one of my favorites. I love this as a mantra. It's dense and potent.
Yeah. Sarva is everywhere, of all places, Sarva. And Jana is that word, it's in knowledge, but in Sanskrit it's Jana. And over in like Greece, it became gnosis, like G,
Mhm.
and then the G turned to K, so knowledge. So let's see where I need to find. Let me plug the iPad in. Hold on.
Friends who are maybe just joining right now, I'm here with Lorin Roche, author of the Radiant Sutras. And some of you know his work we've shared previously, Meditation Made Easy. And Camille, his beloved of decades, created this masterpiece, Meditation Secrets for Women. This is absolutely phenomenal. Lorin and Camille have been committed for 50 years to help people fall in love with the enjoyment of meditation.
So I just plugged the iPad into a power source, and here's a takeaway for you. Your meditation practices, whatever they are, and we all have our favorites, is that which helps you plug into your
Mm.
energy sources and recharge.
Mm.
All yoga is about connecting and reconnecting to prana shakti, the
Mm.
universal energy of life,
Mm.
and fine tuning our relationship with the flow and the rhythm and the pulsation of this wise energy.
That's why I love Sutra 86. There's that's the one that is like the straight arrow to plugging into source
Oh
energy.
yeah, I see. Parameshvara. What beautiful.
Mm.
There is a knower who experiences everything. There is a presence dancing everywhere. There is a lover who embraces us all. I am one with that light. I am one with that power. I am one with that love. There is a soul who is intimate with me. There is an energy of life And this mystery is calling me. I am one with the dance of life. Param Ishvara. There is a knower who is experiencing everything. There is a presence dancing everywhere. There is a lover embracing us all. I am one with that light. I am one with that power. I am one with that love. Wow, thank you, Daniela.
Lorin, thank you. I have another question if you have a moment.
Yeah,
So you said that you've been interviewing meditators for decades and
since 1968.
discovering what it is that how they're thriving in their meditation.
Yeah,
Has their reports changed over the decades, or is there a consistent and persistent common denominator?
it's changed in that it's harder nowadays for people to find their own groove because the airways are full of shoulds and judgments. And there's more of what I don't know what to call it. There's a kind of a standard expectation of what people think meditation is that makes it impossible to meditate. It'd be like if it's bicycling, the model would be like take a stick and jam it into the spokes of the wheel while they're riding. It just breaks the whole thing. And it's this, and I'll hear it sometimes 3 or 4 times a day.
Yeah.
I tried to meditate, but I couldn't make my mind blank. Or I tried to meditate, but I couldn't stop thinking. And often it comes, there's a frown like this.
Yeah.
And so once people have practiced this trying and then feeling bad, feeling they failed at meditation, they have actually started to create a neuromuscular habit that then has to be unlearned. And that habit, once formed, then becomes a block against being able to meditate. So that thought is just everywhere. There's a series of related thoughts that, well, I can't meditate because I can hear a dog barking 2 miles away, or I can't meditate because there are people in the other room talking, and so I can't concentrate. I can't concentrate. There's like a list of things that actually aren't problems at all. And I mean, here's the insight. If you can, some people can get this in one thought. It's welcome the flow of whatever, the flow of emotion, the flow of sensing, the flow of thinking, the flow of your to-do list. Welcome everything. That's meditation. Concentration is not meditation. Some people will hear that and go, aha, all right. So it's harder for people now because everyone has heard all these things about meditation. And because meditation is mental, you can actually just practice it inside. People will take what they think is a meditation instruction, apply it inside, and then develop a habit of attacking themselves.
Mm.
And so in the 60s and 70s, people wouldn't fight me and say, well, if I'd say, like, welcome the flow of breath, welcome the flow of thought, welcome the flow of feeling, people wouldn't fight me and say, well, that's not what I read in Yoga Journal. That's not what my app says.
Right.
They wouldn't fight with me and
Right.
have to unlearn. Now, like, I have a PhD in meditation research. I'm a trained meditation teacher with half a century of experience. And people will actually, like, look at me like, you're lying to me. That's not what I read on the internet. So I think probably the best way to approach that is humor. So what I've started to do is to say, you can do this or you can do that. Like, you can make yourself miserable in meditation, or you can actually practice what the technique is. Your call. It's your choice. So I'm developing ways of just letting people be themselves. Like, go ahead and practice that. Call me in 20 years. Let me know how it went.
And you have really, you've worked with, and those are some of those heartache moments that you've shared, where meditators will come to you after investing 10, 20 years attempting to adopt the monastic path because they believed that was right and best and what you're supposed to do. And people have come to you with painful regret.
Oh yeah.
I've cut myself off from pranashakti, from vital life source, from
Yeah.
my senses, from feeling the intimacy and the aliveness of life.
I talked to somebody this morning who's in that process of unlearning a rigid, mildly destructive form of meditation. So meditation is the practice of intimacy with the life force. So it's a relationship. And it's just like we're all vulnerable to getting into a bad marriage. Like, most of us have been in some kind of relationship where we're being bullied, either in a schoolyard or somewhere, or work, or in a marriage, even our kids. There's dogs that are bullies, and horses. Some horses are mean. So meditation is an intimate relationship, and we've all had or seen, like, bad marriages. And for a lot of people, meditation is the way they think of it. It's a bad marriage. It's like where it's like a relationship. Say, there's relationships where we can't be ourselves, where we're afraid of being judged. So you're at work and there's a supervisor. Well, you can't be yourself. You have to just perform. It's not about you being you. It's about you producing for the company. Well, but what if you're with a friend, somebody who just wants to be equals and be a friend, and you don't know how to be yourself? You keep acting as if you're performing and you're going to be judged, or that you have to be a people pleaser, or you have to keep guarded. What if you're with a friend or a dog and you're constricting yourself? Well, that a lot of people are doing that in meditation. They're acting as if there's somebody judging them and evaluating. So, for example, I meet people constantly who they'll say, well, show me some meditation. And I'll say something like, well, what to you is interesting about the flow of breath right now? And they'll go, I can't do it. I say, can't do what? I can't block out thoughts. And they'll say, well, did I say block out thoughts? Well, no. Well, where did that come from? Well, it's everybody knows that you have to block out thoughts. So they actually can't do a simple instruction because they basically booby trapped their brain. So we all are vulnerable to falling into a bad relationship. And actually, any relationship, we need to be on our game and fine tuning it, because any relationship is a symphony. Like sometimes we lead, sometimes we follow, sometimes we're awake, sometimes we're asleep, sometimes we're giving, sometimes we're receiving, sometimes we're listening, sometimes we're speaking. For a relationship to be healthy, there has to be a give and take and mutual satisfaction of need. And the feeling tone that I'm presenting to you, which you could just get like right now and own it forever, is that meditation is an intimate relationship with the forces that are keeping you alive always, and that are always pulsing with infinite love for you in particular. And that there's a sweet, precise modulation and repair and tuning of your individual nervous system and senses. And because the life force is genius. That being in a human body, you're the inheritor of 1 billion years of the earth being really smart and tinkering with the flow of energy. So this body that you're in is packed with wisdom and love everywhere. And when we meditate, in a sense, we're just being in awe. We're relax in awe and melt into this wise flow of the creative energy called prana shakti, or called the life force, or called our instincts, or called the deep power of recovery. When a person is meditating in a way that's like very simple, like just being with love, we've measured this in the lab since the late 60s. When you practice a simple, loving meditation, the body goes into a state of rest deeper than deep sleep in a couple of minutes. And even though you're thinking and feeling and just feeling relaxed, the body's in the deepest rest you've ever experienced, profoundly healing. And in the state of deep surrender, if the cells of your body are reconnecting with the pulsing electricity of life and recharging. And so even half an hour of meditation can change your life. You can just feel like, oh my God, I have the ability to do that. When your body knows that it can drop into the state of relaxation deeper than sleep, restfulness deeper than sleep, and yet it's just completely natural, and you can just slough off and that's been weighing you down even for years. When your body knows that, it's like, I've got a secret. I've got a magic power I didn't know I had. And this power belongs to all of us. No one owns the truth of meditation. No one. This is something that nature built into our bodies as part of our survival instincts. And you have your own way of doing it. And as when you learn a generic meditation practice, then you customize it so that it feels like home. It feels like being me.
And Lorin, thank you and Camille for creating the meditation teacher training program. there is, for those of you have seen this book before when Lorin's been on, Meditation Made Easy is one of the textbooks for the meditation teacher training. And what's so gorgeous about this 6-month program is that you and Camille have been helping hundreds, if not thousands, of meditation teachers step out into the world, first and foremost, reestablishing a love of their own meditation practice, and then paying it forward, essentially helping others. Your students from your meditation teacher training have created careers, have brought in these techniques into already existing businesses, anything from teachers to counselors to coaches to therapists. And so this meditation teacher training is a remarkable program, friends. There are some of you here that may be thinking, wow, there's something in this that is calling to me. I can bring this out into the world and reestablish my own aliveness in my meditation and help free others to enjoy. So I'll share the link, everyone, to the meditation teacher training. There's a very generous discount for friends here in this community and that are watching this live stream. So thank you. I know it's been a joy for you and Camille and your teaching team to see these emergent meditation teachers step out into the world and really help people fall in love with themselves.
Yeah. Thank you, Daniela. Let's do more. Let's play more like.
Always do more of this. And is there, and this book, Meditation Made Easy, is on Audible. So for those of you like myself that could listen to Lorin read the phone book, you also learn some instructions while listening to him. And any Radiant Sutra jams on the horizon as a
The musicians reached out to me yesterday. We're beginning to plan some.
Good. Radiant Sutra jams take the Radiant Sutras, the potency and magnificence of these, next level by having musicians come together in groups of people and just read the sutras and jam to it and dance and move. And it is like wild fun. It is wild, ecstatic fun.
Yeah. Well, all righty.
Thank you so much.
And soon, let's do this again soon, Daniela.
I love it. Always. Our love to Camille, our love to Mr. Mighty. Camille is a lover of this hummingbird called Mr. Mighty that comes to visit, and Mr. Mighty.
The hummingbirds are all there's 3 of them dancing outside the window, right? All the last hour.
Of course.
Yeah.
And he still has his lady friend, right? Mr. Mighty has
his girlfriend. Yeah.
Good. We love you. Give Camille our love. And
all right.
Mwah. Bye, friends. Have a beautiful day. I'll share the links in a moment. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Feel free to come on by, everybody. Okay. All right. See you.
Bye, all.